Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Band Together Leadership. My name is Paul Everts. I'm your host. You can reach me on my email address, and I wish you would. It's BAND, the number 2, together, bandtogethercomcast.net. Also, visit our website, please, which is conductingmylife.com. Go to the curriculum tab. You see I'm part of the John Maxwell team. I'm a certificated speaker, trainer, and show coach for John Maxwell and his materials, which are fantastic. John Maxwell is a New York Times best-selling author. I say leadership, and I would love to be with you. So I'm going to do something different, and I don't want to offend anybody. That's never my intent. I just share opinions, and then I get blasted. However, this is really good. This is from Dr. Maxwell, and it's about leadership. Criticism and confrontation come with the territory, don't they? I've had my fair share of criticism and confrontation. There was a parent who accosted me in a parking lot and yelled at me in front of the drum major and yelled at me in front of my own son and daughter. And this drum major also yelled at my wife. So, not drum major, but the parent yelled at my wife. It was terrible. I still have students and parents that criticize me, and they're not part of my life anymore. And it's just part of being a leader. So I'm going to share with you part of Numbers chapter 12. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to just read sections. But let's start with what Dr. Maxwell wants. Dr. Maxwell wants us to think about leaders can bank on two truths. First, leaders will be criticized. I just said that to you. You're going to be criticized. Second, criticism always changes the leader. Unhappy people, and again, I've only had a handful of people who have been unhappy. I've taught for 34 years. But the unhappy people, they'll let you know they're unhappy, and you're going to be the whipping boy. So unhappy people tend to attack the point person, which would be me. Moses, okay, don't turn it off. Moses' own family criticized Moses. Notice what God and Moses teaches us on how to handle criticism. Okay, don't turn it off. Listen. Number 1, you maintain your humility. So Numbers chapter 12:3 says, now Moses was a very humble man, more humble than anyone else on the face of the earth. Number 2, you face criticism squarely. Verse 4, at once the Lord said to Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, come out to the tent of the meeting, all 3 of you. So the 3 of them went out. Number 3, be specific about the issue. Continue with verse 5. Then the Lord came down in a pillar of cloud. He stood at the entrance to the tent and summoned Aaron and Miriam. When the 2 of them stepped forward, verse 6, he said, listen to my words. When there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, reveal myself to them in visions. I speak to them in dreams. Verse 7, but this is not true of my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. And then verse 8, with him I speak face to face, clearly and not in riddles. He sees the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? And then number 4, lay out consequences, verses 9 and 10. Lay out consequences. The anger of the Lord burned against them, and he left them. When the cloud lifted from above the tent, Miriam's skin was leprous. It became as white as snow. Aaron turned toward her and saw that she had a defiling skin disease. Number 5, pray for the criticizers. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, that is very tough. It's very tough. I will say when I do pray for the criticizers, like that mom in the parking lot, and the father in the parking lot, and on, the student who will say, F you, Mr. Everts. When I do pray for those people, I have to admit, I feel better. So pray for the criticizers, verses 12 and 13. Verse 12. Do not let her be like a stillborn infant coming from its mother's womb with its flesh half eaten away. Verse 13. So Moses cried out to the Lord, please, God, heal her. And then number 6, restore them when appropriate. And that's verse 14, which says, the Lord replied to Moses, if her father had spit in her face, would she not have been in disgrace for 7 days? Confine her outside the camp for 7 days. After that, she can be brought back. So the 6 again, how to handle criticism. Maintain your humility. Face the criticism squarely. Be specific about the issue. Lay out consequences. Pray for the criticizers. And then number 6, restore when appropriate. And then finally for today, beyond that, consider 10 ways leaders should handle criticism. 10 ways. Number 1, understand the difference between constructive and destructive criticism, who it benefits. Number 2, don't take yourselves too seriously. But for me and many others, we should be taking God very seriously. Number 3, look beyond the criticism to see the critic. Do you respect that person? What's the person's need? Number 4, guard your own attitude toward the critic. Don't get defensive. Stay objective. Number 5, recognize that good people get criticized, which means don't beat yourself up. Don't. And I tend to do that. My son does that. My daughter. We tend to beat ourselves up. We don't like when people don't like us. We don't live on that. Now there are some people that live for that. We don't do that. So keep yourself physically and spiritually in shape. Wariness distorts our perspective. And since January 1st of this year, I'm happy to say I've lost 19 pounds. Working out more. My blood pressure's high. My weight's high. I'm not going to take the vaccine. I don't plan to take the vaccine. And so I'm going to keep myself very healthy. And I'm in the Word every day. And I'm sharing that with you. I hope you didn't walk away. But if you did, you're not learning anything. Okay. Number 7 of the 10, don't see only the critic, see the crowd. Is the criticism widespread? Sometimes it feels that way, but in a class of 35 kids, you're going to have 1 who's not going to like you, 2 who's not going to like you. Heck, you might even have 5 who don't like you. Is it widespread? If it is, you might need to ask yourself, okay, what do I have to do? But you need a definition for widespread. Number 8, wait for time to prove the critic wrong. Be mature enough to be patient. I can't tell you how many kids that I've had 5, 10, 15, 20 years later apologize. And frankly, 10, 15, 20 minutes later apologize. So, wait for time to prove the critic wrong. Number 9, associate with people of faith. Spend your optional time with optimists. Spend your optional time with optimists. That's very clever. And then number 10, concentrate on your mission. Change your mistakes. Focus on the big picture. So again, this is leadership. Criticism and confrontation come with the territory. Leaders can bank on 2 truths. The first truth is you will be criticized as a leader. The second truth is criticism always changes the leader. Don't let it change your values, okay? Don't let it change your values. Don't let it change your principles. You stand strong with that, okay? And just be ready, man. People are going to push you. Begin with the end in mind. Every choice you make is who you are. Choose wisely. Seek first to understand and be understood. And finally, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I care about you dearly. If you'd like to work with me, again, contact me. I'd love to do some private lessons. I work with groups of any 2 to thousands and 2. I just love Dr. Maxwell. I love what he does. And I'm ready to do secular and sacred training as well. Okay, thanks a lot for your 10 minutes. All right, have a great day. Go add value to somebody's life. Bye.